Episode 130 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. We have arrived at the main card of UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik Almeida. And man, honestly, this main card, zero complaints from me. Like, main card was gas from
I thought it
pillar to
delivered.
post. It did. I mean, you could argue the co-main, but I'll be real. I didn't expect as much from the co-main as other people did, and I'll push it a step further and say the UFC didn't either. Because when this card first got announced, a lot of people, including myself, for a brief second, was like, "Why is it not flipped? Why is
Yes, 100%.
Walker
Why would
Smith not
why
the
would
main event?"
5 and 7 and guys that one guy that's fought for the title and another guy that used to have a massive hype train, why would they not be there? And why would Jailton Almeida get to headline one? And why would you have heavyweight set at 5 rounds and not light heavyweight set at 5 rounds? The reason is the way those fights play out is it doesn't matter how many rounds the heavyweight fight is. To be quite honest, like it's not going to go. Yeah. It's going to end inside of 3, whether Rozenstruik knocks him out or Almeida submits him. Like that's obvious. And the other fight is very likely to go the distance if Anthony Smith doesn't get finished. Like I think that was kind of the way that works. Right?
Yeah, if that one's 5 rounds, Anthony Smith 1,000% doesn't last, and we'll get to it. But yeah, man. Up first, jerking the curtain on the main card. This fight was gas too. We got Alex Morono versus Tim Means. Morono, pretty big favorite at minus 225. 39-year-old Tim Means coming in at plus 190 in their welterweight division. And man, both of these guys have been with the company a long time. It's wild that Morono is only 32, and he's been with the UFC since they were on Fox. Now Morono is the classic case of he will beat the shit out of any can that exists in the world, but the minute you level him up in competition, he
fights
shrinks
like,
in the.
Yeah, no, he fights well against guys of his own stature, and the minute you try to give him rise, he folds. He tries his regular techniques, and when they don't work, he gets like gun shy and then folds. And when they do work, he's a monster.
And I mean, you can kind of not count you could argue the Chaos Williams knockout was a little fluky, like whatever, but like losing to Anthony Pettis whenever Anthony Pettis went on to like lose in the PFL and shit, and then he strings together 4 wins in a row over Super Wash Cerrone, Zawada, who I don't believe is with the company anymore, Mickey Gall, who
no longer
if he's still with the company, no longer with. I don't. And if he is, I was going to say it's not.
Pretty sure he got
longer.
cut on roster watch.
Yeah, I think so. And then Simmelsberger, that's a good win in my book. I'm probably higher on Simmelsberger than I should be. I'm kind of a mark.
That's his best win. Like he actually looked really good in that fight, though.
Yes, and then takes the L to an aging Ponzinibbio.
That was tough. Although he was winning that whole fight, and then Ponzinibbio caught him at the very end. Like he was dominating Ponzinibbio.
You're right, but that's Ponzinibbio though, right? And then I look like a tangled. No, so now he gets matched up against Tim Means, who's just like the ultimate 500 fighter. I mean, not overall, but in the UFC, he's 14-12. He was on a 2-L streak coming into this one to Kevin Holland and Max Griffin. Neither one of those are terrible L's.
Let's have some respect for the guy from Wilburton, Oklahoma, okay? The Dirty Bird.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely love that the Dirty Bird's from Wilburton, Oklahoma. Granted, I lived in Oklahoma for fucking 20 years. I couldn't tell you where Wilburton is. But,
I think it's pretty close to Shawnee.
Shawnee, and I can't tell you where Wilburton is. But it's a small town. Shout out, though. Shout out to the homeboys out there. But he's another. I mean, the win over Mike Perry is aging nicely, I gotta say. But I mean, that's about it. Lost to D-Rod, lost to Nico Price. None of those are aging well. Lost to Bilal. That's aging well. Lost to Alex Oliveira. Isn't aging well. Lost to Matt Brown. You could argue is aging well. So I don't know. Like Tim Means just. Definitely UFC caliber, but also, nothing to get excited about. In hindsight, Morono minus 225 was, a super dope parlay builder. I think we all liked him as a show, just even though we didn't bet it. But I guess what I'm getting at is I think we all thought Morono would win. I don't think we would think he would sub the submission guy. Personally, I didn't think that. I thought he would piece him up on the feet and just kind of like out dog the old man,
For
kind of,
sure,
just kind of.
yeah. Get inside, hurt him. Now, that being said, I thought Means won round one, man.
Yeah, me too. No, I thought it was close
Close.
because
Means
Morono
kind of stole it at the end with the hard shots and the inside uppercuts that he landed.
definitely like made a couple reads, and like after the first like 90 seconds of the round, he was not getting caught with the same shit that he was getting caught with. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like
And that last shot that hit like literally right after the bell sounded, like he started throwing it and then the bell sounded midway through the shot, and as the horn went off, he landed that hard left. Morono like was staggered walking to his corner to end the round. I thought Means was going to come out and put damage on him round two.
Me too, man. I thought it was round one was close, but it was trending in Means' direction.
Right, like a hard end for
on.
Means, like if the fight had been like this, it was literally it did that right at the end of the round, like a hard turn for Means.
Yes, and then in round two, man, like even at the start of round two, it was one of those things where it's like, damn, Morono's not going to be able to figure out this range. Like Tim Means was the taller guy. Morono's having a hard time entering. He was having a hard time kind of catching up, if you will, closing that distance. And, how exactly, I forget, because he kind of jumped. Did Tim Means shoot for a takedown and he jumped Gilly? Honestly, I forget how they wind up in the guillotine sequence.
Yeah, so Means, they kind of striking back and forth. Means ducks under, goes for the takedown. Morono seemed like incredibly ready for it, right? Because Means like shot a double leg, but Morono almost like jumped with it. It almost looked like he felt the takedown, knew he was not going to be able to get his hips back, so in that same instant decided just going to throw Gilly here. And they talked about how he has a really strong guillotine choke. And
I believe he went with the arm in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I mean, it was pretty slick. Like it was tight. You could tell Means almost got out to the side. It was almost okay. He almost got into the half guard, but then got back into the full guard when Morono sat up and sunk his hips back up higher and underneath.
That sitting up part, apparently, when it comes to the arm in guillotine, I said, I'm no jiu-jitsu guy, but Cruz was talking about it. I've seen some nice little breakdowns from Twitter from jiu-jitsu people. Like, apparently, like the arm in, like that sitting up thing he did was like super key.
It puts a bunch more pressure on the head and allows your hips to slide back. I mean, even if it's this far, it allows your weight to get back over your actual like legs and off your lower spine. So you get to apply a lot more pressure because you get your whole back engaged at that point. That's literally all it does. Yeah. You just get to engage a different part of your muscle system, but it's super important, right? When you're cranking someone's head, your lower back is what you actually need. I mean, if you think about it, man, when you straighten your back, it's your lower back that's pushing up. Your upper, for most people, their upper back is hunched over, so they just, that is straightening your back for your upper back. For your lower back, you see it like raise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I mean, usually we hate when guys jump Gilly on the takedown. And there was this crazy sequence where, honestly, Tim Means timed the level change really well.
Right.
Like, I thought it was going to, you can't even argue that it was really the wrong decision. Like, he timed the duck under, like, perfectly. So, shout out to Morono for being able to just, like, it was such high-level shit going on right there.
Yeah, you could tell. He felt it and hopped to it and locked it in. It was really nice. I believe got a bonus.
2 minutes and 9 seconds. Did not get a bonus.
Did not. He is the one that does not. That is correct.
So you could argue that the Silva de Andrade fight should have got fighted tonight. And I could argue that this deserved 52. Like, they should have done it Chatri style and just handed him out. That's another thing one does that I like. They do the bonus in octagon. That's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, I like that as well. I also like Chatri.
Yeah, Chatri's is legit. And definitely more likable of a human than Dana, for
his
sure.
His story is way better than Dana's, too. His story is
And I don't know shit about Scott Coker, but, like, Scott Coker matches Bellator is just, like, the most mid, just, like, boring, like, just, like, brings nothing to the table here.
Scott Coker seems like he should be a boxing promoter. Like, that's the vibes I get off Scott Coker, which is not a good thing.
and also I keep reading little rumors and shit that the TFL or PFL and Bellator are going to merge, which would be kind of sick. Like
It'd be
that's kind
smart
of
for
legit.
them. Be super smart for them
That would be
because
sick.
they both kind
That's
of
a
allow
legit
fighters to
competition.
fight. You know what I mean. Between organizations, they don't really care as much about that like the UFC does. So, yeah, that'd be a legitimate contender against the UFC if Bellator and PFL could merge.
Because Bellator would get out of that shitty Showtime contract. I think Bellator has way better fighters than PFL.
So ESPN's going to own all the fight leagues?
I think that makes because ESPN owns PFL or like is deeply entrenched in PFL. Like,
I wonder if it's going to become like the UFC and Bellator PFL become like ESPN fight promotion or whatever someday, or they just merge with the UFC because like one is going to challenge them. One coming to America and the promotion one puts on one is sick, bro.
One is sick. I'll say ESPN shows like this is going to sound a little disrespectful. It shows I think the NFL and the XFL, so it's not the only they do that shit.
The NFL is always on CBS or Fox.
But Monday Night Football though.
Oh yeah, they get the one. Oh yeah. You know what I found out that's hilarious? Jeff Bezos paid more for Thursday nights on Amazon than the entire UFC sold for. Did you know that?
It makes sense, but did you also notice the Thursday night slate is no longer Fugae's bullshit games? Like Thursday night's legit this season. I don't know if you saw the schedule release. Like Thursday night got like real games. It's no longer. Because remember Thursday night was always bullshit, but like nothing else was on. So we'll watch Jags Browns or whatever the fuck bullshit.
Jags Browns.
And these bullshit color rush uniforms and whatever gimmicks as they try to like. But now, no, Thursday Night Football is legit this year, bro. Like it's like real games. Like
I'm here for
because
it. Because
awesome. Bezos paid the bag. Like he's like, no, I didn't pay the bag.
Well, he paid like $17 billion or something for Thursday Night Football. Well, I was like, what did he pay? That's insane.
Because it's on Prime, right? It's on Prime.
Yeah, it's only on Prime. Yeah, he paid for exclusive rights.
Which is sick. Because I like streaming. Fuck cable, man. Fuck
yeah,
cable.
I hate cable. Death to cable. We're a little off topic. Let's get back. Let's get back to old light heavyweight Carlos Ulberg and Ihor Potieria. Which can you explain to me the Potieria push? Quick. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Super quick. Morono called out Brian Barberena. Love it. Agree with it. I think that makes all the sense in the world.
I think he said they're already working on it too. Like they already verbally agreed. So,
but after what I saw, Morono by sub, it will probably get you fire odds because Barberena is going to try to strike.
Vegas might be a little wise to it,
means. Maybe, but I mean, you're still going to get value for a prop, regardless.
True.
Even if they're, but yeah, we'll keep it pushing.
So yeah, light heavyweights: Carlos Ulberg -425 against Ihor Potieria +340.
Lock of the card. Lock of the card.
Also, can you explain to me, and if you can't, don't feel bad. I don't think anyone should be able to. Why is Potieria getting main card placements?
Outside of being a Contender Series guy, and he reminds me a lot of who's throat cat Costa. What his name?
Caio Borralho.
Yeah, he's giving me Borralho vibes of just Contender Series guys.
But at least Borralho can win fights. Give me Potieria's record. I think he has a win in his last.
Well, he was what 19-3 coming into this, so that's nothing to slouch.
Give me his UFC.
He was the guy that his UFC record got exposed and it was controversial.
Oh, that is him.
He was the guy. Where it turns out he was fighting the canest of cans of all time, and had a padded boxing type style record. So that's what happened. And Dana, he was 1-1 in the UFC coming into this one, and won his Contender Series fight. But his loss is to Negumereanu, which is the best loss
in that.
And apparently, these wins were pretty fugazi. Apparently.
Who's his
one of his wins is over a 1-9 guy. Another one of his wins is over a 5-6 guy. Another one of his wins is over a 1-2 guy. A win over a 1-6 guy.
Nice.
A 5-5 guy. a 17-17 guy,
Oh
lost
my
to a 3-2
God!
guy,
17. He
lost to
lost
a
to a
2-2
3-2.
guy.
Lost to a 2-2.
That was early on, obviously, but yeah. So he had kind of just like a fugazi kind of record, and Dana White saw,
Who's his
Eastern
win in the
European
UFC
guy
over?
over who the fuck is that guy? No, it was over Shogun.
Sure.
Yeah, a 97-year-old Shogun.
Right. I forgot that they literally gave Shogun away to this guy on a main card once again.
Which proves to your point is that they're trying to push this guy.
Is it the Ukraine shit? Like, I'm tired of that.
That's something that's hard to. But the thing is, Dana's not that guy, right? Dana's
Definitely
not the
not.
super woke like pro Ukraine guy.
But he isn't the owner of the UFC. WME is, and they are those guys.
Yeah, fucking John Cena's ass. But
like, I mean, if you're telling me that WME's executive Ari Emanuel can't go to Dana White and be like, put this guy on the main card, like find a way for it, I'm sure Dana can do that.
You know what though? I'm gonna go the other way here because you're not wrong. I think this was like a feeding to Oldberg. Oldberg's the guy.
Oh, I agree with you that Oldberg is yeah, this was like giving hype. Like this was the transfer of any hype that was maybe left on Potieria.
This was them like cutting their losses on Potieria.
Yes.
Like squeezing the juice.
Yes. Which I was so happy to see because this guy deserved no juice.
Guys, we're big Oldberg guys here.
Huge Oldberg guys. Also, Oldberg turned down an offer to be on the Bachelor Australia. Shut up.
Dude, fucking handsome motherfucker. Handsome motherfucker, dude. Just good looking human. Fucking
6'4", shredded, nice chest tat.
Dude, fucking he's like the goddamn island he's like the goddamn Pacific Islander Drew Dober.
All right, well, aside from let's get into the fight because he doesn't end up looking like Dober by the end of his fights. Typically.
No, he does not. Yeah, no, I mean, this is another one where the fighter pretty much had to stop his own fight, and this fight only lasts 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
I disagree with yes, he didn't have to stop his own fight here. The ref just sucks.
All nonsense.
Oh,
Keith
all
Peterson
nonsense, dude. Dom Cruz got to shred Keith Peterson tonight.
That was one of my favorite moments of the whole card.
It felt good. It felt right.
It was hilarious. Just no punches like held back. Cruz is like, because Cruz legitimately doesn't need that job. Like he really doesn't.
Does not.
Like,
just does a really good job.
So he's like,
fights.
fire me. All right, bet, fire me. Like,
I don't care. Yeah, like and he has money too. He consistently talks he's paid.
He has money. I mean, he could go do this. I mean, he could do like some Chael Sonnen YouTube shit and crush if he wanted to. Like he has options. Like or got any other promotion like One or PFL would hire the fuck out of him.
He's a guy that could probably write a book too about the 3 torn knees. You know what I'm saying? The 3 knee repairs, and like the coming back and like the ring rust and the mentality, like the whole career. Like he's a guy that could write a book. I think that would sell. So like he has plenty of avenues to make money.
No, for sure. And I just love that. But what we're getting at here, I mean, Oldberg, I mean, this looked like Vegas knew what was up with this matchup. Like, Oldberg was way better at MMA than Potieria ever was or was going to be.
Minus 190 by KO, which already shows you, like, bro, he's a 2-1 favorite to knock him out. Sheesh.
No, definitely sheesh. Yeah, Potieria plus 340, Oldberg minus 425. You just heard the prop money line. And, yeah, I mean, it was a check left hook followed by ground and pound. Mm-hmm. And Oldberg literally stopped when he saw Potieria go limp.
Potieria's head bounced off the floor 3 different times.
Peterson was just alcohol and cigarettes and it up over there. Just fucking ripping dots. Just ripping dots. And
smoking dots.
Smoking dots and pounding JMO. But, like... I mean, it was bad. Like Cruz, you could tell Cruz felt so vindicated. Like he was like, "See, I tried to fucking tell y'all. This guy was on bullshit, and everybody called me a hater. Everybody called me salty. But here we are. was Oberg stopping his own fight and Potiera being dead 4 different times. Like that happened. Like it all happened exactly like Cruz said it happened. Like that was so fire about it because Cruz didn't have to embellish. He didn't have to, use hyperbole. He was just like, I tried to fucking tell y'all this guy was on bullshit. Fucking see it for yourself.
Refer to him as all the nonsense.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
For Oberg,
but yeah, man,
big win.
See, I want to say the card placement makes it a big win. The fact that it was on ABC makes it a big win.
That's what I mean. Like, he gets a nice little pump from this because it was a good KO, like a good finish.
And it gets his, hype train back rolling. Because it was rolling, and then let me see, he lost to Kennedy. And see, Kennedy and Zekachu beat him and kind of snapped some of his hype away, which I still am not a believer in Kennedy. Maybe I should be.
All right, but if you go back to that fight, Oberg was literally cracking in Zekachu and just literally wore himself out, and Zekachu showed iron chin in that fight, man. It was insane.
It's one of those things where I think if they fight 10 times, Oberg wins 8.
Yeah,
I really do.
Right, I really do.
That was one of the two. I hate to call it fluky, but hey. Now, the argument, you could argue that we may have a Morono on our hands. Oberg may just be so handsome, he's fucking miraging us here with his fucking good looks. But, seriously, because, he loses to Kennedy and Zekachu, who's essentially a top 15 guy, but he has wins over Fabio Charant, Fugues, Tafon and Chukwi, Fugues. Negamariano, I won't say Fugues, but definitely not world class. And Potiera established as being Fugues. So it's I don't know, man. I love Oberg, and I bet Oberg, and I'll continue to bet Oberg. But do we have a potential Morono situation where when he faces legit dudes, maybe? But I mean, I don't know. Is that a cold take? Right? What's your thoughts on that take?
I just think if he's calling for a top 15 matchup. If he gets Khalil Roundtree, Jimmy Crute, or Dustin Jacoby, I don't necessarily like Oberg in any of those.
That's what I'm saying. As much as I like him,
I don't know that he's
we
really
may
a
have
top 10 guy.
We have a Morono situation. We really might.
I think he's got really good power, but I think top end guys that can roll with punches and be defensively sound while they put out offense, I think those guys give him a lot of trouble. And I don't think he has the chin to contend with those guys as well as they do with him.
I think he's a guy that kind of gets by on athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
He's a bigger, faster, freak human. I don't know if he's ever outskilled a guy, or the guys he outskilled were so unskilled. I'm saying in Chukwi and those type of guys, Charant,
those don't feel like good wins, skill wise.
Oh, they're not. Hell no. The Water Buffalo, come on now. But honestly, I hate to do it, but go ahead and introduce this next one. I'm going to piss. I'm going to leave my earbuds in, so I really hope YouTube doesn't hear my fucking powerful stream. But I'll be back.
Don't worry. I'll lead over the top of that powerful stream. We can sword fight, if you will, my voice and your ponding of the water. We got welterweights coming up, speaking of a pond. And Ian Machado Garry, I'm going to leave Machado out from the rest of the time I refer to him. He will now be Ian Garry. Just want to give you his full legal name because he's an idiot. Minus 300. Going up against Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez, plus 245. Love me some D-Rod, right? Let's not be unfair to D-Rod, but as D-Mac and I had touched on earlier in the night, this was a weird stylistic matchup because D-Rod has this win over Gabe Green, and it's a pretty solid fight. And so we're talking about Brian Battle and D-Rod kind of being on the same level. The thing with Garry is, when we saw him fight Gabe Green, kind of struggled with him. So it almost made it hard for us to place Gary's level because we're being sold as though Garry is this prodigy, this kind of next guy up out of Ireland. So it's this weird sell on, he's not really meeting my eye test in that fight, but you're telling me he's this. And now he has to fight D-Rod, who I know is at least consistently D-Rod. Whether,
yeah, man, and D-Rod, man, I just want to like the guy. I want to root for him. I want to
just your
like
typical LA essay. I love him.
Yeah, Like I mean, his record. I mean, even like he was 17-3 coming into this. Like that's not nothing to sneeze at, and it's not a Fouquet 17-3. I mean, he has wins over Lee Jianliang, legit. Win over Kevin Lee, legit. And that was 2021 Kevin Lee. Win over Mike Perry. Now the loss to Dalby is aging super poorly.
Dalby fought his ass off in that fight, though.
Lost to Neil Magny, who's a legit guy, and it was in the third round. Went over Tim Means.
That Magny loss in the third round, it does become super important.
It does. And the thing about D-Rod too, where I wanted to talk myself into it, but almost his one path to victory is like being taller and outstriking the guy, and he's fighting a striker who's taller than him. You know what I mean? It's like Ian Garry is better at what D-Rod's good at than what D-Rod is. Neither one of these guys was going to, bust out the singlet and start shooting double legs. This was a striker's matchup.
For sure. Striker's delight. This is striker's delight.
And D-Rod's path to victory is usually like straight punches and kicks because he's usually taller, and he's fighting a guy who's taller than him who probably has better kicks. Tough matchup, man. But made a lot of sense. I mean, I like the matchup, and I like the card placement, I like everything about it. Tough matchup for D-Rod.
Tough matchup for D-Rod. I'm glad we both agree on that. Now, minus 300. Super hard to put anything in on Garry here unless you really wanted him by finish. I think KO TKO he might have been like plus 120, so that's a juicy straight. I even think the win at minus 300 in a 4-leg parlay very worth it to throw. I mean, if you're going to take maybe a minus 160, a minus 200, a minus 300, and a minus 190 or whatever, you can get away with that and still make some cash, and it's kind of a worth it risk, and kind of a good lock here, right? Like, I wouldn't have taken Olberg and Garry on the same parlay, though. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I was super bullish. I was way more bullish on Olberg than Garry, for sure. I mean, obviously, level of competition. I mean, that makes sense. But, man, I thought minus 300 was a little rich. Like, it made me explore the option of doing a little sprinkle on D-Rod just for value monsters.
See, that's what I'm saying is, like, the value is placed to really get you on D-Rod here. And Vegas knew that. I think Vegas knowing that, I think we need to ask ourselves that too sometimes. Like, is this value monster sprinkled like this? Like, we need to ask ourselves on sprinkles. What I'm saying is this meant to be a sprinkle because Vegas wants us to, because they're collecting our action on the side, or because they don't realize the odds they're giving here, right? And I think this was actually a more like, if they'd given plus 300 on D-Rod, that's a Yanni sprinkle. Plus, what is this, 245, 250?
Yeah.
Is not really the Yanni sprinkle. So it's a no bet for me.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Now, shout out to Michael. He was super bullish on Garry.
Yeah, super, which made me kind of question, like, am I missing something here? Clearly,
it made me feel like a D-Rod nut rider, which I kind of am. I don't know.
Kind of am, too. I kind of respect D-Rod a lot. I like the fights he gets
I really want to
like
smoke a blunt with that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Like, come on now.
64 Chevelle and, like, some, like, some, like, 85 spoke gold wheels.
He'll smoke a blunt and get some tats with D-Rod in L.A. What? Like, let's go. That was a good day. But, like, Ian Garry seems like a super cringe, corny dude to hang out with, honestly. Like that's why I hate the Conor McGregor comparison, just because he's Irish. Because Conor is so much cooler than this guy. I feel like chill right now. This guy's a fucking nerd. Like, Ian Garry, he's not cool. He's good. He's like I'm not saying I like.
He tries to play cool,
smoke or anything. But it's so, like, forced and, like, kind of Sandhagen-ish. And, like, just, like, I feel like him and Corey Sandhagen would just, like, get along, like, and have a great time. Like, just, like, I don't know. Like,
all right. Let me put it this way. When I actually, like, break down the tape on the fight here, Ian Garry looks like all of minus 300 and more, to be quite honest. Like, his footwork was so good. His kicks were insanely well-timed and placed. I thought he was peppering with combos to keep D-Rod at a distance.
D-Rod could not figure out the range.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun to look at. I'm not going to do it, but if somebody out there wants to leave a comment below, like, is this the first time D-Rod's ever fought someone taller than him? Because that's the vibe I got. D-Rod had no idea, like, what to do with having the reach disadvantage, which as a 6'1" welterweight, I doubt he's had to face it that often. Maybe Tim Means, but, like, different level kind of striker.
Well, Well, and Gary's head movement too. Like, listen to these stats: D-Rod 3 for 3 on leg kicks, 2 out of 5 going to the body with punches and kicks, 2 of 17 targeting the head. He could not.
Yeah, no,
find
he
Gary's
couldn't touch
head.
it.
Could
No,
not
he could
find
not.
it.
It was very apparent. It was very apparent, and which spelt bad, night for D-Rod because that was his path to victory. Right? Like I said, he wasn't going to bust out the singlet. So,
Correct.
when it was very apparent that he was not going to be able to figure out that range, we're like, all right, Gary,
And
go ahead, do your thing.
You know what I think we should have known too is, I think when you let Gary fight without the threat of a takedown, he is very dangerous. I mean,
And that's why I'm still not sold because, all right, now he's like, we'll get to it. He's ranked now, like he's like
15.
a guy, right?
Calls out
He's
Neil
in-
Magny.
So we'll get. So he gets the head kick KO. We'll just go in order, I guess. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. He gets
kick
the
to
head kick,
punches.
drops him. Yeah, finishes him off with ground and pound.
They actually credit this
57
as a KO TKO kick on ESPN. So the official credit is the head kick, and I think that's fair.
I think that's fair
because the head kick put D-Rod on the moon, and he was just kind of stumbling around the cage after that.
I mean, Tapology says head kick to ground strikes. Like, you can't tell the story. Like, it wasn't like he took him down and ground and pounded him out. Like, so to just say ground and pound KO doesn't really paint a full picture.
Agreed.
Head kick, very integral part of that story being told. Now, yeah, you're right. He called out Neil Magny, who I believe is ranked 10 right
11.
now. 11.
That's a very plausible fight. Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it's plausible. It makes sense.
The way he called him out was beautiful too. He said, "How long is this guy? The forever gatekeeper to the top 10." That's a hilarious.
Here's why I
didn't
like
name
it.
For Magny.
Ian Garry is obsessed with numbers. He's obsessed with rankings. He's. I used to be called Rankings McGee. He's the real Rankings
McGarry.
He only wanted D-Rod because he was ranked 15, and his life goal, which I thought was also kind of a bad look. He's like, my life goal was to be top 15. Like,
15?
Okay. That's what he said. That was his words, not mine. And, I didn't love that. I don't think you saw this. Based on your reaction to that, I don't think you've seen you've seen Ian Garry's newest tat?
No.
You thought you could like this guy any less? Bro, he went and got a 15, had it on his leg, and check this out. This is the part people are saying is cool. I think it's out of line. He got the D-Rod chat on his test that says 85 or whatever? Like,
yeah, 1986.
The 15's in the same font. So it was like a troll job.
Bro.
Is that not the cringiest, wackest shit ever?
Where did he
People
get
are
it
saying
at?
it's cool on Twitter. It's like on his shin. It's pretty small too, which is also kind of whack. Having a small tat on your shin is kind of just like for the tattooed person community is just kind of lame. But
what a weirdo.
Is that not he's so obsessed? Like he's putting out tweets and Instagram posts. All my life, I've been wanting a number 15 next to my name. He's saying shit like that, bro. He's acting like he wanted Poeton's belt tat. Sick as fuck.
Yeah, super sick. Especially because when Poeton does this, he has the kickboxing belt and then the UFC belt. Those are fire tats.
Having a 1 inch tall 15 on your shin is trash.
Brendan Schaub was top 15. What are we talking about?
Fucking the fighter and the kid, what? But no, man, I don't know. But I don't know, man. And maybe it's because I'm a D-Rod fan. I'll say. So I guess I would say the thing I didn't like about Gary's antics, the tattoo, lame as fuck. Sorry, it is. Leave a comment if you disagree and you think that was fucking rad. I disagree. But rad as fuck. But I think Gary thinks it was rad. But also, you see the little clips he put out where outside on I think 2 days, a day or two before weigh-ins, prime weight cut season, he put a pizza and a bag of weed outside D-Rod's hotel room, and Ding Dong ditched him. And
that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice.
It was awesome.
That's kind of nice.
Awesome.
That's a good troll job.
That was awesome. It was a fire troll job.
Cheers to that.
So he shows the potential to make savvy media moves. Like I think that was likable. Like that was probably the coolest thing Ian Gary's ever done. But like the fucking 15 shin tat,
That's
1 inch
tough.
big,
That's a very tough look. That's tough.
lame.
TOUGH. That is not TUF.
And then like the Magny call out. Once again, he said it in Octagon. You listed the cool part of his call out. You forgot the part where he's pretty much said the only reason he's calling him out is because he's top 10. Guess what? He's number 11. You chode. So it's like the whole you're obsessed with numbers. You wanted to get 15, but he's going to get a 10 tat next to his 15 if he gets that. And it's just like
I think the argument is like it's brackets, right? And I hate this about the rings. I actually hate this. Is that like 15 fighting 8 doesn't make a lot of sense. 15 fighting 11, I have no problem with. Right?
I don't hate
I'm
the
conditioned
call
by
out,
numbers. And so 11 fighting 6, I don't really have a problem with. But 15 fighting 6, obviously I have a problem with. Or 9 fighting 11, I don't care about. Now, 3 fighting 11, you can't do that. But if you're 11 and you call out 7, 7 can fight 3.
What?
Like, he's just trying to ladder his way up by numbers. Like, he's literally looking at it like a numbers game. He's just going to
No,
call
I
numbers.
know, and it kind of makes sense. I just like don't tell us the audience that. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
this is how you know I
hate
like
it too.
Chael.
It's too
Like,
obvious.
yes, like say pull a Chael, pull a Matt Favola, tell us Neil Magny, you fucking stink. Like we all know the reason why you're calling out Neil Magny. You don't dislike him as a human, but just don't be like, I want to be number 10. You're number 10. Let's fight for number 10.
It should have been
I just think that shit
it
is
should have been
lame.
like, yeah, you know, like let me get Neil Magny. He's been the gatekeeper of guys that belong in the top 10 his whole life since he can't be there himself because he's 11. Like that would have been a fire line.
Yeah,
Then he could
but
have
he's
literally
like,
just gone off and been like, you know, just dogged his performance or whatever the fuck he wants to say, and been like, I'll
like
see,
I'm not
I'll
I'm
see
not
you in
trying
the
to do
octagon.
math in a call out. You know what I'm saying? Like math and call outs, like let those two things be separate. Now, that being said, Gary improves to 12-0. He's only 25 years old. He's 6'3". I mean, there's a lot to like. And he probably does beat Magny, which is another reason why I'm just not as high. Like, all right, sure, he'll be the next guy to beat Magny on his way to the top 10. But like I'll say, I guess it'll check off a box because Magny has like legit grappling. So like, it's not like him beating D-Rod, who's like it was a good matchup for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could argue Magny's a worse matchup. So I guess that provides a tiny bit of intrigue. But
I think
I
it's
don't
very
know,
much
dude.
more
But
intriguing just because Magny is able to grapple, but we'll see.
yeah, yeah, and we can get pushing to this co-main event between Anthony Lionheart Smith, who's only 34, bro. I legit thought he was like 38.
Thought he was like
What,
47.
minus 105, kind of. Ranked number 5 in the light heavyweight division, taking on Johnny Walker.
Kind of.
Well, I'll be real. I didn't realize Johnny Walker had worked his way up to 7. Honestly, like that kind of caught me off guard. I haven't been keeping a super close tabs on the LH Dub rankings, but
Because they're meaningless.
yeah, and Johnny Walker. I mean, you always got to mention that he's 6'6" because no, I'll say the fact that he's 6'6" plays a huge factor in how this fight takes place. Like, and he may have unlocked something here because it kind of for the first time in a long time he fought like a guy who knew he had a reach advantage.
I want to say yes.
Fucking say it, come on, huh?
I want to say yes, but I also want to say that, like, when I look at his post-fight comments, like, I don't know that he even knew he had the reach advantage. He literally said that his whole goal was to just punish him and not finish him, essentially. Like, so he was just trying
I think
to.
that
Like, I
that's
thought
some
that was a weird
revisionist
thing
history shit.
to.
Yeah,
That's
no,
a
it was
weird
a
thing to
fumble.
say. Like, why say that?
I don't like.
Because now it makes me question
Why?
it. Because I thought it was him, like, realizing, like, oh, I can control the distance. I can keep this at range. I don't have to go inside and go ballistic and risk getting just, you know, fucking
I
tapped
honestly
on the counter.
think Johnny Walker thought that sounded like a cool thing to say. I thought
Probably.
yeah,
he's
like
so
honestly, I think
cringe.
it's
God.
he's so cringe.
He's
just
Henry
like,
Cejudo
oh, this
that we
makes me
haven't
sound
figured out
like,
it's Henry Cejudo yet.
oh, this makes me sound like a tough, mean, scary guy. Like I wanted to hurt him longer. Like,
Yeah, literally,
yeah.
and it's like you could have finished him, and like literally in the last 6 seconds, he should have finished him. I don't understand, like Let's
No,
get
how
into
in
it.
round 3 he does. Yeah, let's get into it because
In round 3,
round
like Anthony Smith quit and was like looking for a way out, and Johnny Walker wouldn't give him a way out, which is
I
essentially him
thought the
saying he
same way.
wouldn't like win the fight. Which he
Saying that sentence of like Lionheart's looking for a way out sounds like blasphemous. Like my phone might catch fire, but like,
yeah, true.
bro, but there's no other way to interpret what our
Well,
eyes witness,
let's
man. But
let's get
let's
to it from the start
yeah,
because like that
yeah.
future is greatly affected by the prior events leading up to it, right?
So, and it also starts off round 1 was honestly entertaining as
It was a
fuck because
banger. I thought this fight was going to be so gas after round 1, and it kind of went snoozy for the last 10 minutes.
start of the round, I mean, Johnny Walker gets the knockdown, but much similar to we saw earlier in on the prelims that, like, I forget the fight, but like Smith, when he pretty much was on the verge of being knocked out, grabbed hold of a single leg. And usually that's like a desperation kind of like, hey, ref, don't stop the fight. Look, I grabbed a single leg. But he like parlayed it into an actual single leg takedown, which was like beyond impressive. Now, don't get it twisted. Did not give the round to Smith, but like that was literally so impressive for him to get to finish that single leg on death's doorstep. Was like literally why they call him Lionheart. Like very few guys are able to pull that off. Like that's probably about the extent of the nice things that I'm going to say about Anthony Smith on this segment. So like, hear me say it.
Was he concussed after that? Because the stuff he was saying in round 2 made no sense at all, and it reminded me very much of like when his house got broken into. Because the things he was saying, I was like, he was saying, "You came after my family, you attacked my family," and Johnny Walker was literally looking at him going, "What? What?" Like you could hear Johnny Walker yelling, like he was literally screaming at him, like, "What are you talking about?"
Bro, you know what it was? Everybody was asking, what is this? I knew exactly
PTSD?
what it was. Bro, he was trying to pull a Bobby Boucher. It was tackling few. He was visualizing and then attacking. He literally was like trying to convince himself that he was like fighting the guy that like he was digging deep. It was awkward. And like he was like trying to like give himself a reason. Like to me, I mean, I feel very bullish on this take. Like I was not confused as to what I was watching. It was awkward and it was strange. But as far as like why is he doing it, it immediately made sense to me. He was like trying to find something. He was trying to.
It was weird. I mean, I'm with you.
It was awkward.
Best case scenario is what you just said. Worst case scenario is that he was so rocked from that round 1 beating that he was like literally having like a PTSD like moment.
Those are two different statements. Like a concussion would cause you to act like Bobby Boucher. Like, I'm not saying he like wasn't concussed and it had nothing to do with it. Like I think that factored in. I think he was like not thinking clearly, but such a dog that like the not thinking clearly combined with like his
with like the won't
win.
quit. Yeah, I know that's weird. I literally could see that happening. I've seen someone be so hammered but also be tripping on mushrooms that like they were falling asleep but waking up and like their dreams were interweaving with like real. It was shout out Nick. It was like weaving his dreams with real life, and the things he was saying made no sense at all. But in his like, if you were considering what he might have been dreaming about, for sure it made sense. But it was like he had one world. He didn't have a subconscious and a conscious. They were like meshing. And that's almost what we were seeing. It's a weird deal. Like it doesn't make sense. It seems like you're in a cartoon, like trippy, like just doesn't make any sense.
It worked because round 2 was by far and away his best round of the fight.
Super close. I even have it super close. I still give it to Walker, but I thought that was the closest round of the fight by a lot.
Those right hands that Smith see I think round 2 gives context to round 3 because round 2 Smith was losing the round, but occasionally landing these piss missile right hands.
Piss missiles.
Yeah, it's like straight and hard and landing flush.
And they would low-key hurt Johnny Walker, and then he would just shell and recover.
Johnny Walker has a sus chin.
Right.
Yeah, I think he knows he has a sus chin at this point. So I think round 2 is what gives us round 3, which is a snoozy disaster, which we talked about in the lead up to this. I mean, Smith was a dead man walking in round 3.
He seemed so
The calf
discouraged
was
in 3, man.
completely destroyed.
He couldn't put any weight on his left leg, so he knew he couldn't sit down in any shots from his backhand. So he knew he lost all of his combination power, which for Smith, that's his knockout power. He's not a one-punch KO guy. And he's also usually a pretty big leg kicker. So to not be able to throw kicks with the left leg limited his arsenal so much that he knew
can't shoot takedowns either.
Right, he knew he was dead man in the water. Now you know who didn't
toast.
know he was dead man in the water? Johnny Walker. And if he didn't act on it, which he acknowledged in the post fight, which was that I just wanted to prove I could go 3 rounds with the guy that's been in the title fights. Hey, you know what's more impressive? Go 2 rounds and finish him in the 3rd. That's way more impressive. Hell, finish from the 1st. I don't give a fuck.
No, I agree. The fact that he didn't get a finish in round 3 made this fight kind of bullshit.
Also, he could have been calling for Ankalaev here or Blachowicz, but instead it's probably gonna have to settle for Rakic or Krylov even.
Yeah, I thought he fumbled the post fight.
Fumbled it huge. I think he has a bunch of fun fights, right? I think all the fights ahead of him are really fun, and he's an easy sell because he normally is an electric striker. But yeah, I just can't with old Johnny Walker at this point.
No, and on the way Anthony Smith was talking after the fight, it wouldn't shock me if he retired. I mean, he has over 50 fights. He has the commentating gig. I honestly kind of would like to see him retire for multiple reasons. The fact that we said he kind of gave up on himself in the 3rd. Afterwards, all he kept saying is, I got some deep thinking and reflecting to do. It's kind of trending in that direction. He honestly kind of looks like shit. I mean, besides the 3 piss missile rights in the 2nd round, he didn't look great really the whole fight. He's known as a grappler.
I think the competition
grapple the striker besides the single leg, and that was after he got knocked out essentially.
It's weird because we're not really used to seeing it with guys that aren't super old, right? So Matt Brown, we understand that he's in a bygone era, doesn't have the same skill set, has obviously been passed up. Fine. We're seeing Anthony Smith in the midst of being passed up over the last year, where he used to have his title level skill set, and now guys have caught up and passed him because he is stagnated and in his age and fight miles. And that's just what happens, but we're literally seeing it live, and it's weird to see the guy. He's going to fall down to probably 12 or 13, fade Anthony Smith in all the rest of his fights.
That's why I just want to see him retire, because he's done climbing upwards. The best case scenario, he has a couple of gatekeeper fights. I'm who's trying to watch that? Not me. I mean, it either has to be Rakic or Blachowicz for Johnny Walker next, which good on him. He's officially relevant again, which is kind of wild. Very few guys make that. He was down to what, 13, 14, 12? He was down. And very few guys fall and then come back up. Very few.
And went over and had a direct conversation with Jamal Hill in person, face to face, upon winning the fight.
Yeah, but he took the respectful stroke job approach, which I didn't appreciate. I mean, it's the loss to Ankalaev. Is the win over Span, win over Crew, win over Clark. Oh, he's already fought Rocket. So, yeah, you got to do Blachowicz.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you could do Ankalaev.
That's a fight night main event.
Yeah, Walker Blachowicz is it's a super fun fight. Hell, that's a featured fight on a pay-per-view, man. That's behind 2 title fights. That's a 5 versus 3 light heavyweight.
And you always got to argue which one would you rather have. Which one would you rather have? Because the 5-round kind of preps you for a title fight. Blachowicz is used to 5 rounds. He's kind of a 5-round guy. It'd be kind of weird to see him fight 3 rounds.
I think keep Johnny Walker in 3-round fights, because I don't think his fights are going 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, do I want to? Yeah,
do I want to see what Johnny Walker looks like in round 4 and 5 too? Because he's all based on explosive techniques.
He fights like this though. If he's calf kick McGee, kind of works at 5 rounds.
Do I even want to watch him if he does that though?
Honestly, I'll say yes for the same reason. Like, that's what this sport was set up to find out. Like, you got to solve puzzles. Like,
It's
if
fair.
nobody in the light heavyweight division can figure out a calf kick from a 6'6" guy, then hey, then you're not a champ. You're not the best guy in the division if you don't have a counter to that.
But okay, my counter to that point that you made is Uncle Ivan Blachowicz obviously have to fight again. It's not really a question, right? Like they tied.
The only reason I disagree is that the UFC seems to be disagreeing. They haven't alluded to it. They haven't mentioned it. They haven't. There's no leak from any insider. There's no rumors. There's no mutterings. There's nothing on the dirt sheets. Like, I agree, it would make all the sense in the world, but the UFC may view it as like, hey, that fight sucked. Let's keep it pushing. Johnny Walker's here. He's exciting. Whatever.
I think Walker might fight back one against Krylov. Honestly, they might do that and then make the winner of that fight the winner of Ankalaev and Blachowicz, because Yuri is going to get that Jamal Hill shot the minute he's able to fight, and it looks like Yuri's getting close.
Yuri Jamal's booked. We'll just say it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's booked.
Right, so why not make a little 4-man tournament while you're at it? Rakic, I don't know where the hell he's at with his knee, so give him a tune-up, keep him out of this 4-man tournament.
See, that's why you do Rakic Krylov.
But is Rakic good to fight?
He's not, then cut him or get him the fuck out of the rankings or whatever. But I mean, it's been over 12 months, so I mean, if you're not good after 12 months, like, is that a career ender? Like in football, it is.
That's fair. Well, then why shouldn't Walker have to avenge his loss against Krylov? Or, I mean, against Rakic.
I mean, you could argue he should avenge his loss against Hill if you want to be a real mark. But,
well, I mean, that's literally what he was arguing for in his post-fight.
Let me see. Rakic fought Jan, obviously, fought Santos, fought Smith, fought Ozdemir. Yeah, he hasn't fought Krylov. See, I think you do Rakic Krylov. I just don't think we need to, like, Walker has some steam right now. Walker has some clout. Walker had clout, lost it, and got it back, which means you get it back faster. Like, why shine light on Krylov? Like, this is my question. Like, I think that's a favor to Krylov to give him Walker.
Is Jan Ankalaev booked? The rematch?
It is. I don't think it is.
It's not. It's not.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I feel like if that was going to happen, it would have happened. Like, why wouldn't it? Like, why hasn't that happened? Why is nobody talking about that happening? I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense on paper, but I just don't think that's the direction the company's going.
Doesn't make a lot of sense. You're right. I mean, in that case, if they're not, I don't understand that, man. How do they fight to a draw and we don't see them fight again?
Because the fight sucked.
I guess. You know, but it's like they're 2 and 3. Like, it's almost at the point where it doesn't matter how the fight sucks or not. Like, they'll beat almost everyone else below them. So we kind of just have to see who's better between them to eliminate one of them. I can't eliminate one of them if they're drawing.
Well, there's always been that push on Walker. There always has been.
What do you mean?
Like, I think Dana would rather have Walker as a champ than Ankalaev. Personally.
Johnny Walker more than Ankalaev, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But he'd rather have Jamal Hill than Johnny Walker, I'd say. Just for American revenue.
I think for matchup, banger fight, viewability, I think White would not hate if Johnny Walker fought Jamal Hill for a belt. I think he thinks that's a big fight. It's a fun fight. It's a highlight reel.
So right now, Jamal Hill is the early favorite over Yuri, minus 155, plus 135.
I already know you're fucking selling your car to bet on Yuri.
Obviously, he's right there. Shout out.
Yeah, that's your guy. But, man, let's keep it pushing this main event. We got to get to it eventually. I mean, there's not much to talk about at all.
Unfortunately.
Main event, we got Jairzinho Rozenstruik, number 9 ranked heavyweight, plus 400, against Jailton Almeida, who's 18-2. minus 500 in the 12th ranked heavyweight.
Who are the two guys that have beaten Almeida? Is what I ask myself.
Let's fucking find out, bud.
I mean, absolute dogs?
Or just guys probably before Almeida knew how to strike. My guess.
Maybe.
Like they beat up like Jiu-Jitsu Almeida. They beat up Crone Gracie Almeida like in his like second fight. I think one of those. I know at least one of the losses was like in his first two fights.
Oh yeah, his fourth fight. His fifth fight, he lost in 16 seconds to a KO punch. So literally just got flash KO'd, I'm sure. And then a guy in 2018 beat him in a unanimous decision.
Which probably meant he was able to keep it standing before he really fine-tuned everything.
Yeah, you're right, because it was all submissions minus one TKO by punches before that. So, yeah. I mean, also his first two wins were in 2012, then he took 4 years off. So really you got to go from there. So his third fight from his real professional career he lost. His fifth fight in his real professional career he lost, and he hasn't lost since.
Yeah, that's wild.
And in fact,
that is
D-Mac, this is crazy. Since that decision loss, he's finished every fight he's been in. No decisions.
Wow.
In fact, D-Mac has never won a decision. Has always finished. Every fight he's had is a finish.
That's interesting.
And 7 KOs, 12 subs.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what's wild. Like, when's the last time we've seen a guy this grappling heavy have this much success? Because people keep trying to compare him to Hamzat, but in them early fights, Hamzat was knocking motherfuckers out on the feet. Forget.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, it's pretty wild when I look at it. What the fuck is this? In 2019, he fought in PFL, and he has a first round knockout in 2 minutes in 2019 PFL.
Wow.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but anyway, yeah, Contender Series in 2021. So just keep this in mind. September 2021 gets the submission against Nasruddin Nasruddinov, right? Then
that's like 18 months ago.
Yeah. So check this out. February 5th, first fight in the UFC. KO's Danilo Marquez under 3 minutes, right? February 5th, 2022. So we're talking 15 months ago. Then, 3.5 months later, fights Parker Porter, submits him in 4 minutes 35 seconds. Then, takes off a solid 4 months to go to September 10th to fight Anton Turkalj, submits him in about the same amount of time as Parker Porter, then fights Shamil Abdurakhimov for a ranking, essentially, and only took 4 months between that fight, so January 21, 2023, KOs him in the second round, and then has this fight literally 4 months later from his last fight. This guy fights every 4 months.
No, it's fucking awesome. He's active as shit. And, like, he's running through everybody. He's officially has more impressive stats than Hamzat. I think through 5 fights in the UFC, he's been hit 5 times significantly or something. It's even
insane.
more impressive than Hamzat's stat.
It's insane.
Credit to Rozenstruik. He was able to stuff the first takedown. Where the nice things I have to say end for Rozenstruik. He's so one-dimensional. No, you can argue Almeida's kind of one-dimensional too.
I was going to say the same thing, but Almeida does have 7 KO TKOs, so...
I imagine the vast majority of those came from a ground and pound, but I could be wrong. But
let's see. It says TKO punches if it's like on the ground finish, so he has 1, 2... He has 3 clean knockouts out of 7.
I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, for sure. I'm not trying to hate at all. It's honestly, I'm just trying to, like, talk myself, like, is this guy just God? Like, is this MMA God? Like,
I mean, it seems like it.
He has to be human. He has to be human, right? Or is he just, is he going to do this? Like, does he do this to Pavlovich? Like, where does this end?
That's my question, is his weakness massive power, but also where does he get hit? Because like defensively, he's extremely sound, man. I don't see anyone hitting him.
Nobody has hit him. Oh.
I'm just saying, even in style, like how can you? Not even like, have they not? Like
I'll
he's
say
not allowing opportunities to hit.
You would have to hope to like Curtis Blades like time the takedown, or no, I'm not talking about Curtis. Like what
Derek Lewis.
What Derek Lewis did to Curtis Blades. Like that's your only hope to really knock this guy out. Like just catch that uppercut, catch that knee.
But at the same time, here's what I think is weird: is he's a heavyweight. Man, if he fights John Jones, I don't think that he has the skill set to beat John Jones. Like I think John being the champion is a very tough.
Me neither, but that fight's never happening. That fight's never going to happen.
I agree with you because Jones will be out before then. I'm just saying that as it currently sits, like that is the model of champion, and Almeida kind of fits the model of champion, just not quite to that extreme skill set yet. But he's young.
It'll either be Almeida. It's one of these three. It's a 3-man race between Almeida, Aspinall, and Pavlovich for like a vacant 100%. Title.
And you know what I like about it?
After
all three are very different. Aspinall's kind of the middle. Obviously, Pavlovich is the power striker, and Almeida is the wrestler. And I like that there's the three in between because in a 3-headed race, one could beat one could beat the other, one could beat the other, and we can have like a cycle. Like heavyweight's actually fun with these three guys. Fun.
And I think they all beat Gane.
Yeah, Cyril got. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Ngannou, and I was like, why am I thinking Ngannou? He's done. Which also, have you heard the leaks of what Ngannou was offered?
I have not.
Bro, he was offered not a share in. He was demanding a share in the ownership, like stakeholder, like shares in one UFC or one FC to like fight for them.
Yeah, I heard of that.
But they offered him in like a role when he retired, like as a heavyweight, like matchmaker, like a board member for heavyweight matchmaking. Like they were going to allow him to like continue to work in one as like a heavyweight matchmaker. And so like essentially give him equity in the company by offering him a job outside of fighting. And they were also going to meet his like $20 million a fight number or whatever. But he wouldn't take it because he didn't have equity and ownership of one. And it's like, bro, who do you think you are?
Yeah, he fumbled that for sure. I think he's fumbled it a lot. Let's get just real back to the actual X's and O's. So on a second takedown attempt, he is able to get the takedown. He goes the full mount. He takes the bat, gets the rear naked choke. Actually, he's only been hit with 2 significant strikes in 5 fights.
Jesus
also,
Christ.
Called out Tai Tuivasa, which all the sense in the world, but is also just a terrible matchup for Tuivasa. I mean, they'll probably do it, and that's probably another Fight Night main event.
I mean, bro, talk about picking your fights, though. My God.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a fucking easy fight for him. I'd rather see Volkov personally, and I can't stand watching Volkov fight, but I think it's a better matchup. I think it's harder to take down.
Wouldn't mind Spivak. I think he still melts Spivak, but I think at least we see resistance. Blades? Oh, Blades is where Almeida gets like hard stopped, like, hey man, we're actually gonna have to strike because you're not taking me down like that. I really think Blades is not getting taken down like that.
That's what I want to see.
I agree, but I don't want to like give him that rise. I don't think he gets to fight 12-9 and then 9-4. I think we need one more middle fight. Like let him earn it.
So it's got to be either. I think he gets tied, and I think he gets his call out because
that's Volkov, fully fair. Oh God, yeah, Volkov. Yeah, I could see him getting Volkov.
For some reason, I think Volkov's a better fight than Tai. I'm just kind of out on Tai. He's kind of sloppy.
You know what I wish?
He's fat. He's rich.
I want to see Aspinall Tuivasa is what I really want, and then I want to see Volkov and.
I want to see Aspinall Almeida. Because Aspinall's high-level black belt.
You can't kill him yet that fast. You got to let them both fight up. You got to keep them a little separated.
But that fight is happening for a belt one day.
Agreed.
2025.
Yeah, but like let him fight up. That's what I'm trying to differentiate him here real fast.
No, I got you.
Because Pavlovich's about to get his shot. Like as soon as Stipe and fucking. Mm-hmm. Well, I imagine he fights Gane.
That's fun.
Yeah, Pavlovich Gane is fun as fuck. Stipe Jones is the only fight Jones will actually fight unless he just retires. which Stipe will probably
All right.
retire as well. So those guys are contingent upon each other only.
Hate to be the skunk at the garden party, but I don't want to piss twice on air, and I'm coming close here. My bitch ass bladder's weaning out on me. Let's take a quick peek ahead to next week's Food Gaze Apex card. We got Dern versus Hill. I don't know. That's probably a no bet for me, just because like just down on both of those girls. Buckley Fialho is the fight I'm looking forward to. That we got Borshchev on the main card. Tells you all you need to know. It's an ass card. Diego Ferreira versus Michael Johnson may be fun. It might not be.
I mean, Fajeda used to be ranked, so it's weird that like he just is like 2 fights out of being ranked, and Michael Johnson has been ranked in 5 years and is like so old.
Yeah, but Johnson's a big name though, so that's why it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm just saying the minus 150 for bets. It's very juicy.
Kovacevic versus Demopoulos, I guess. This card sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Chase Hooper.
Ilir Latifi's fighting Rodrigo Nascimento as the 9th fight. That is a tough look. Chase Hooper's all the way down to 10th. Takashi Sato's the opener against Themba Garimbo. This is a terrible card. God damn it.
Terrible card. But I'm legit going to piss myself. But so that wraps it up. Fucking subscribe, like, check out some other videos. We do not miss a card. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
We will see you guys